I'm assuming everybody has my. This meeting is being live streamed. Okay.
Well, when I texted you, we just had lightning strike right out between the house and the barn. That's why I was like, I might be late because I was flying to the barn to check on Mom and pick her up.
You're live.
Okay, thanks, Beth. Jeff, I think you're ready to go.
Okay, we will call the meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. First order of business, approval of agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Grand Isle will make a motion.
Chittenden County would second.
Thank you, Pat. Any changes, adjustments, additions to the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 I
Any opposed, say nay. Thank you. Secretary's report. No, there was a copy in the packet. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Chittenden County would move to approve the secretary's report.
Watch
County second.
Thank you, Jeff. I did notice one, I think it's probably a typo more than anything. The bottom of page 5, it refers to a 4-foot bridge. I believe that was a 40-foot bridge, if I'm not mistaken.
Got it. Thank you.
And other than that, I don't remember seeing anything else.
4-foot bridges are cheaper though.
Yeah, but I don't know which side you're gonna float it from. Anyone else? Hearing none, I will ask for approval as adjusted. Say yay.
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 Yay,
Perfect.
aye, yes.
Yes, no, you guys need to listen. Any opposed, say nay. Thank you. All right, comedy hours over. Treasurer's report. Patty.
Okay, so this is we're 8 months into the fiscal year and the data represents activity through the month of May. So membership, we actually had some come in 6,900, but that's paid volunteer TMA income. So I was like, what? Where did that come from? But that's where it is. So I looked that up. 88% of the expected membership income. Well, I was like, I thought I lost my connection for the budget as of this time. We're approximately 300K less than we were in 2022 and about 400K less than we were in 2021 in regards to membership. As far as income, we have minimal, a total of 26K, mostly again representing that membership dollars and some trails miscellaneous funds income, which was some trail donation dollars that was also in there. We are at somewhere between 86 and 87% of the expected income from of the budget. And the last 2 seasons, we were about 95, 96%, just to give you perspective at this time. Expenses, 455K, of which 379K represents trails specifically, of which 376 of the 379 was in grooming payments. We are at 67% of expected expenses for the budget at this time, which is pretty much the average. If you were to take the last 2 years and average them out, they'd be about that percentage as well. You have the charts and all the data for the last 3 years, month to month. So everybody should have that. And there we go. And that's what I have, Jeff.
Thank you, Patty. Any questions for Patty?
Mike Burns has his hand up.
Go ahead, Mike.
You're
Can't hear
muted.
you.
On mute, Mike. There you go.
How are the numbers looking compared to pre-pandemic surge? I mean, everything I got kind of artificially changed, it's flattening back out and since we're coming back to somewhat normal.
Yeah, I would say, Sydney, we had the spike during COVID and we're probably more in alignment with pre-COVID. Would you agree?
I really think that we are down because of lack of early snow. Now, that being said, Mike, to answer your question, we did go up some right after or during COVID, but it wasn't like a huge amount. Like we're not, the deficit that we're seeing this year is much more early snow related, I believe, than people just stopping snowmobiling because they're back to work or whatever. Yeah. I sent you guys some info a month or so ago. If you go back through emails, I can try to resend tomorrow, sort of the TMA counts and stuff for the past few years. I think we went back five or 6 years. And I sent that to the board.
Anyone else? Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Windsor County make a motion to approve the treasury report as presented.
Thank you, Doug.
Orleans
And a
will second.
Thank you, Michael.
Michael, you sound just like Roger. You guys are spending way too much time together.
Don't tell me that.
Well,
That's
that was
horrible.
Roger's voice. That's
I'll have
funny.
to work. I'll work on putting some bass in my voice.
Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Thank you.
Thank you.
No
Thank
table
you,
item.
Patty.
No old business. New business, leadership summit. Cindy.
Okay, I've heard from most of you that are coming to spend the night that night. If you're not and you're driving, spending the day, but you haven't let me know, or you're planning on spending the night, please let me know. I know that there's a couple of you that are just pending and waiting for it to get closer for family reasons to need to make a decision. So just trying to get everybody's lodging in place so we can open it up. Because right now for lodging, it's directors and alternate directors if the directors aren't there. Although Roger said that Mike and Roger will share a cot, so I think they're good. So besides that, we definitely want, like John's not going to be able to be here because it's VAST's annual meeting that Saturday, and he's on that board as well. But Lynn Mixer is coming, the president for Essex County. So we have, I think, Ivor, you're coming for Michael Garber. Just want to make sure we have enough room for everybody. We'll make room, but just let me know if you would. So again, July, so we're checking in the afternoon, that Friday afternoon. And that night it's just going to be get together, dinner on the grill. Hope some of you guys are grill masters. I opted to, it was cheaper to not cater that night. So we're going to just go to Costco and get some steaks and do a baked potato bar. And then we're going to have the breakfasts. They're making those at the site for us. And we're going to make sandwiches on Saturday. And then Saturday night, we're going to barbecue again. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The barbecue is Saturday night. Friday night, we're picking up some stuff from Sarkey's, which is, most people don't know. I think is it Sarkey's? Is that the name of it, Matt? It's in Groton.
Yeah, it's Starkey's.
Sarkey's Smokehouse. So we're going to have like pulled pork, baked beans, that kind of a thing. We're going to put it in the crock pot. So whatever time you get there, you make your own meal. So that's Friday night. So just let me know.
Okay.
Oh, the other thing, and I think Mark will cover this in his long range planning committee meeting, is the committee is getting together an agenda and stuff like that. So working on that end of it. Oh, and just reminder it's on actually the board agenda. I put it down with times, the dates and all that kind of stuff, bottom right hand corner, just so you have it. The official July board meeting will be that Sunday morning. So that'll be an in-person meeting. We're not going to be able to Zoom or anything, but I think most people are planning on being there. Times for everything pretty much, and a brief agenda is on the bottom right-hand corner of your board agenda.
Thank you, Cindy. Any questions for Cindy? Okay. Patty, awards and nominating committee, scholarship request.
Yes, so the awards committee met, where are we, what month? May, June. And one of the things was that came up was the value of the scholarships that we award to recipients every year. Currently, we do 2 for $1,500. So, two people receive $1,500 each. We would like to increase that. There was a motion made at the committee, and everybody agreed, from $1,500 to $2,500. So it'd be 5,000 versus 3,000 every year coming out. Now I just want to make sure folks are aware that the money comes out of a scholarship annuity. And at 5,000 a year, we could fund that for almost 50 years without any other income. So we have the money in an annuity to support this without, impacting the regular budget. So we would like to, again, increase the scholarships for 2 people to be $2,500 each. That's the request. Jeff, I'm done. I don't know if you're going to call for a vote on this. According to the policy, the board of directors shall establish the amount. So if we're changing it, here I am asking for a change.
Any discussion before I ask for a motion? I will ask the board for a motion to approve the request from the scholarship committee.
Essex County, make a motion to increase it to
John?
2,500.
Orange will second.
Thank you, Julianne. Any other discussion before we call for the vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Long overdue, I think. LVRT updates. Michael, welcome back.
Hey, yeah, thanks. Hi, everybody. The LVRT has blossomed into quite an event, quite a happening. Many of you know that the governor is going to do a grand opening on the 15th of July, where he will start in Swanton, and he will end in St. Johnsbury. He starts at 7 in Swanton. Around noonish, 1 o'clock, he will stop in Morristown and be joined by some dignitaries, probably some state officials, Bernie Sanders, and others. I don't know. The governor's office hasn't been real clear on who exactly is speaking. But that will probably be at least an hour's worth, maybe possibly 2 of those festivities. And from there, he will leave and finish his journey in St. Johnsbury somewhere around the hour of 7 o'clock at night, between 7 and 8 at night. The reason that I requested to be on the board is I would like to have a very good VAST presence at various areas. In Caledonia County, what we're asking clubs to do is have your representatives at the various towns. So Hardwick, East Hardwick, Danville, Walden, all have representatives there to make sure that the VAST presence is keenly felt. And I'm requesting this because it seems as if there's a bike ped takeover on the trail. We are in good stead with VTrans. Jackie Casino, who is the overseer of the LVRT, and her, I won't say subordinate, probably workmate is Bill Gray. Bill tends to the mechanics. He takes care of fallen trees and all that other stuff. We take care of the winter maintenance. They take care of everything else. She is inundated. She's having an awful lot of problems making sure that people play nice on the trail. So what I am suggesting is that we have a heavy presence, and our presence also means support in helping out. I have asked her on the slide, this is not an official, but since we are working on trails, we're covered by an insurance policy. In the event that a tree falls down and you can't get to it for safety reasons, we would, over in Caledonia County, offer to remove the tree and make sure that we get at least some recognition that we're trying to help out on the trail. The governor's July 15th ride, I would really like to see, Jeff, if you could make it. I don't know if you've got plans that day, but if you can make it to Morristown, at least get your face on the TV. Cindy, same thing. Maybe
I'll
have
be there.
one prepared paragraph. I just barely reached out to Laird McDowell. And I think Laird probably will be over in the Cambridge area rather than come over to Morristown, but he would be a former LVRTC chair. And then we had Ted Chase, who recently passed. We want to do something for him. And over here, I'm going to put my mug in front of that camera as much as I possibly can, just to make sure that they understand that VAST actually started this thing, got it as far as we could, and VTrans has brought it to its final chapter. There are some other things going on. They're having numerous scoping meetings for amenities through the regional planning commissions. And some of the dialogue that I've had with Cindy has been about these regional planning commissions. They don't seem to work together. And the LVRT management plan calls out for a LVRTC council and then 3 regional supporting trail councils aided through the regional planning commissions. In the Caledonian neck of the woods, it's done through Northern Vermont Development Association, NVDA. So their trail council is called NEK plus LVRT. That's their East Regional Trail Council. The one in the Central has just met. Is Ken online, or is he attending? Ken Brown?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. No camera.
Okay, that's fine. But you attended the Central one.
Correct.
And I'm not sure if the West has even met yet, or I don't know what their situation is. We don't hear anything about the West. Maybe.
Yeah, the Western Council is more established than the other two because they pre-exist.
Okay.
They actually even have a newsletter.
Is that because of the Missisquoi Valley?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were a Missisquoi organization and have folded in the western part of the LVRT.
Okay, we get no news on this side about what goes on in the West. So that,
Yeah, I think that there's still there's going to be some growing pains. I mean, AOT basically took this thing over from us without, like, we talked to them for a couple of years about, like, let's do this in a slow way. Let's make sure the communities are involved. And they sort of took it on, and they're running into, like, oh my gosh, growing pains, new staff, the whole thing. You know, I think Mike, you're doing an awesome job. And, you know, for those of you that don't know, Mike was part of this from the very beginning with VAST. And our talks with AOT too, like you mentioned, you had a great talk with Jackie, and I have had with AOT too. they're, even if they have all these bike ped people that are trying to take stuff over, I think the biggest thing for us to remember is, like Mike said, we want them to remember who started this trail. And, you know, there are ways that we can do that, but there's no way, unless we did something completely terrible, and I can't imagine what that would be, that they would kick us off this trail. I've had this discussion with AOT. In fact, I just talked to them again last week. They don't want to buy groomers. They don't want to be in the business of maintaining this trail in the wintertime. And it's not the only state land trail we're on. And we will do a campaign educating our riders about coming into village centers and slowing down and stuff like that. But anyway, Mike, I just appreciate you being a part of this. And I'll just finish with, I will be there. I'm going to start in Cambridge, and then I'll be in Morrisville, and then probably Wolcott.
If I
and Hardwick
can hook up with Laird, I'm going to ask him to seek you out so that the two of you can have a show.
Laird's still great too. He was part of this trail from the very beginning too. And he's also, he calls us a lot, like when he's on the trail. Oops, sorry, Matt, having come back in. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, you, that's wonderful, because I got the impression that based on other users, our snowmobile group did an outstanding job this winter in being a good user of the trail. There were a lot of people that were very complimentary. Now that there's all this increased traffic on it, there's a little growing pains, as Cindy said. So we want to just kind of be supportive. And this grand opening, kind of getting cozy with the governor would be a really, really good thing.
Can I add to one idea that we had, that someone came up with? I did not come up with this idea, so I'm not taking credit for it. Somebody came up with the idea that clubs, if they have groomers nearby and they want to park their groomer near the trail that day, you know, if it's not too much trouble, it might be cool to have a couple of groomers along the trail to show, you know, how big those machines are and what the responsibility is. I know that I think Ken sent an email last week out to clubs along the trail.
Okay. That would be awesome. Bruce, you and I will have a separate conversation and see if we can get Walden, Hardwick, Danville, and that's it. That's the three that groom the trail in Caledonia.
Whereabouts in Morrisville is it going to be, Mike?
Oxbow. Sorry.
Did you get that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to mute myself now.
Yeah,
Carmen, Carmen, you got your hand up.
Yeah,
Comment?
I just actually
Question?
wanted to say, well, not really a question, but I just wanted to say to Mike, you know what, thank you for saying all that, because I've heard a lot of things along those lines, and a lot of it is that people don't realize that VAST is the one that kind of started this whole thing. So I'm super happy to hear that, and because one of the things that I heard from Lamoille County is that we should really make sure that there's people there, or that, you know, we put up a booth to like kind of educate people, because there is more traffic that maybe aren't aware of what's going on. So I'm really glad that you kind of brought that up tonight, and that you guys have a game plan to kind of move forward with that. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I'm a firm believer that face-to-face and identifying yourself and saying I'm with the Vermont Association of Snow Travelers, you don't have to go into a whole bunch of stuff, but they then, you know, they realize who you are and just how important you were to the inception of this trail.
Mark Reese has his hand up, but I'd like to also, before I forget, say, if you're going to be out there that day and you want a VAST t-shirt to wear, will you send me an email so we can get it sent to you, or schedule a time for you to come by? Not schedule a time, because we're open every day except for the weekends. But just put it aside, shirt aside for you. If you'd like to wear, you know, like a gray like t-shirt like this, it says VAST and 802.
Caledonia at our most recent meeting discussed having we had shirts made for the annual meeting a year or so ago, 2 years ago, and suggested that everyone that has one should wear it at the event. So we have probably half a dozen county folks that are willing to be there. The more the merrier. If by chance we have bikers amongst the group, feel free to join in, because the governor's wanting to see a whole lot of participation. Don't have to do the whole trail, just you can go from one stop to another.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Also, the past chair of the most recent past chair of the LVRT committee for VAST, Hans Husey, who's also our attorney, will be riding his bike with the governor
That's good.
that day.
Nice.
Sounds like we'll have a pretty strong presence, and then we just need to continue following that up with the governor's snowmobile council to make sure that, you know, he's aware of just how this trail came to be. Because my understanding, I don't know if this is rumor or story time, what, but my understanding is he vacationed in Joe's Pond last year and got to experience the trail over here for the first time, and he was wondering why it stopped at Channel Drive. And I'm not sure who filled him in, but he suddenly was the impetus to see this thing get done. So lots of thanks to him, and I think we should continue to that relationship. We need to mature that relationship between the governor and that rail trail.
Mark?
I just wanted to, I'll be there at least some of it, but I just wanted to see if we could reach out to Kenny Gamble to get him here.
Yeah.
To at least one of those stops.
Okay. Is he still Governor's Snowmobile Council?
No, he resigned since Joanne passed away. I'll give you a little bit of update. His wife Joanne passed away
Right.
in January, and he has discovered traveling again in his life because Joanne didn't like to travel. So he's gone down to NASCAR races and been in the pit at Daytona, and he wants to go see the Grand Canyon and go to Alaska. So I told him just to update us. So I haven't heard. So anyway, yeah, somebody should reach out to him. And
So who is on the Governor's Snowmobile Council now?
Mike Mastachio from your region,
Great.
who's on this call right now.
Excellent. Thank
from
you, Mike.
Lunenburg.
And then the only
Any
other I'll give you, this is really, really, it's way out planning. The LVRT, once it's had its grand opening, I'm working with a group for the Twin State Rail Trail, which would go from St. Johnsbury to Gilman, Vermont, and then into New Hampshire. We are still pursuing that actively. We have the representative from the Rails to Trails, the national organization, who is coordinating between the two states to try and get this piece of property procured and set aside as a rail trail. So it's in its infancy. What we'd like to see is a little more pace than we did with the LVRT. The LVRT started in '97, concluded recently. I don't think I got 25 years left in me for rail trail stuff. I might have 2.5 years, but we need to move that one along at a better pace. And the LVRT is a great promoter of that. So I don't think we'll have much of a problem, but that would be, that would give us some tri-state trail influence for winter recreation. And that's all I got to report. Any
Great.
questions? Anything you guys need from me?
You're doing so much. So appreciated.
No problem. I just want to
Thank
make
you.
we keep on the state and coerce them to get that trail council going, so they have those 3 segments, east, west, and central, all talking with one another. An example I'll give you is the trail ambassador. So Annie McLean is the NVDA chair of the NEK plus LVRT, which if you look in the management plan would be LVRTEs. She's the chair. She runs the meetings. Absolutely sent out an agenda last month. There will be no trail ambassador program. Then I'm having a chat with Ken, and it's coming up as a trail ambassador program in the central. It's not quite in play yet, but it was just weird to hear one region say no and the other region say absolutely, we got it under control. So those are the kind of things that tell me everybody needs to be talking about the same thing.
Well, I think that's what shows your historic knowledge of what VAST has been through and all the work that we did with communities. You know, they should have really started looking at that, you know, because they knew they were going to use the RCPs, RPCs, but, you know, long before they actually, you know, cut ties with us. And so they're scrambling right now. And so that historic knowledge, trail ambassadors they're important to us. I mean, they're important to everybody. And, you know, like you mentioned Laird, I mean, he'd just go out and ride his bike and call and be like, up, there's a tree down, I'll call the town, or, you know, I saw this, or I talked to this guy. It's boots on the ground.
Yeah.
It's crazy to ignore it, but that's the state because they're just not used to relying on volunteers and organizing like that.
That's, yeah, the volunteer part, I think, is what scares them a little bit. They don't want, you know, any liability issues to develop, but trail ambassadors can be great for information, and there's so many people willing to do it. That's the crazy part. So, you know, strike while the iron's hot.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got, and I do appreciate you giving me a little more time than I should have taken.
Oh, anytime, Mike, anytime. Any other questions for Mike?
Yeah, I just real quick, do you think it would be any value in having safety ambassador presence? Would that send a good message?
Sure, at the July 15th event?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You know, a few guys with vests.
Yeah.
Yep. V-Trans has said that they are fully coordinated with the governor's office for any of the road crossings. But by God, if the day of the event, they have an issue and we can help them, that puts a gold star on our report card.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll send an email tomorrow to the safety ambassadors and at least to wear their vest if they're coming to show that we have safety ambassadors on, you know, at VAST. That's a great idea, Stan.
Awesome. Really appreciate that.
And oh, by the way, the announcement, the link to the press release is in Mandy's e-news that she's sending out this week. So just so you know, if you want that information ahead of time, Mandy, why don't you just go ahead and send that press release off to the entire board of directors before your e-news so they have it tomorrow.
Is that the governor's press
Yeah.
release? Okay.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything more on the Burlington Free Press article? Okay.
Mm-mm.
My guess is that it's probably going to come out either the day of or very close to when the governor rides.
Yeah.
There's still a Burlington Free Press?
Electronic version.
Yeah.
So we did gather at Hardwick at the Historical Society, and we were interviewed by a Burlington Free Press person. And they were very keen to know about, you know, the origin, how do you get from a railroad to a rail trail? And of course they want it in 3 sentences. So that was crafty use of words.
3 sentences and $10 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a skosh more. And then what really cut quick was I talked about the fact that we started this in 97 and here it is 2023. And she goes, oh my God, that's older than me. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks again, Mike. Appreciate it.
Okay.
And
appreciate you guys listening to me drone on.
I will be at least at the Morrisville stop, and
Okay,
I may run over to your neck of the woods for the tail end of it too. So
that's great. I'll buy you a beer.
okay. I can be had, and I'm pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Matt, Trails Committee recommendations.
Thanks, Jack. Yeah, it's all outlined in my report. This is all items that the Trails Committee had recommended. And I actually was supposed to talk about this last month, and with everything else going on, I sort of forgot about this piece. So here we are back with it again this month. So the 3 policy changes. I'll just outline them quickly. Again, it's in my report, but the first one is the equipment grant aid policy. We basically try to keep up with the cost of inflation and increase the maximum grant amounts by the consumer price index each year. So the new amounts are outlined in red in my report. The second one is just a slight wordsmithing on the grooming financial analysis policy change. We just add in an accurately completed financial analysis so that we don't get someone saying they completed it, but it's like it's submitted, but there's no good information in it. Doesn't really help a lot. And the last one is plowed parking area contract changes. We're removing grooming equipment as one of the eligible pieces of equipment for plowing parking areas. So it'd either be a pickup truck or a loader. So the Trails Committee was agreeable to these measures and recommended to the board that these measures be, or these policy changes be accepted.
Thank you, Matt. Carmen, I see your hand up.
Matt, I just have a question. Is well, actually, I know there's been some discussion, but has it been a discussion at the Trails Committee level about looking at changing the plowed parking areas? Like how that's done?
Yes, so I sent out an email to the Trails Committee about that, and I got back some responses, but everyone's all over the place trying to. There's a whole bunch of different ideas. There's really no clear idea in my mind on what we need to do with it. So yes, I did reach out, but no, there's no consensus on what we should do. I don't know if that really answers your question.
Okay.
I think it should be a discussion at the board summit is what I mean, because it is all over the place. It's basically people have ideas of what parking lots should be paid to be plowed and all of that. But there's limited funds. And so there've been some emails about how that's funded. And I think the best thing would be to let the Trails Committee continue to work on this, but then also maybe put it on the agenda for the board summit to talk about.
I'm not opposed to that. I would actually, I mean, that's something that I would like to actually discuss at the board level, and not to take it like from the Trails Committee. I understand, but you know, maybe if we can brainstorm, you know, some ideas, because I think that there does have to be a change to it. And that was the only reason that I was just inquiring. I'm not trying to upset people or anything else, but it's been this way for as long as I can remember. And sometimes change, yeah, you're going to make somebody upset. That's just how it is. But I think this is something that needs to be reevaluated. That's just my personal thought. That's all. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Cindy.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to funding and how much money, you know, the board decides they want to put into it. But we'll have everything for you guys in July.
Any other questions for Matt on those 3 items before we take it to a vote?
My only question, because I don't complete the grooming financial analysis, is if, let's say we have a bill that hasn't come in by the 30th or 29th, is there an area on there? Because now it says accurately completed, which we try to do, obviously. But is there somewhere on there that says like, hey, I haven't received a bill for this and this, but we still submit it to you type deal? Like if we haven't got our fuel bill for the month, for example?
Yeah, I mean, basically it needs to be completed, because if there's not information on it, then it's useless as far as I'm concerned. And I don't think there's too many clubs getting fuel deliveries late in April, but I would hope not. But I don't know. I guess it needs to be completed in my mind. Otherwise, it's just not good information. If we don't have it completed, we're not doing what we're supposed to with it. So we don't have what we need. So I would say no, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
I do believe there.
I guess.
Yeah, I do believe there is a spot near the end that gives you spot to put in any additional information,
Okay,
I think. Isn't something rings a bell about that? I don't know why, but I think at the end there's a spot where you can add additional information.
Yeah, I know, not like trying to be pushy about it, but usually when you get fuel delivered, you can call a fuel place and find out how much was delivered and what the price was per gallon easily, or they leave the slip. It's not,
I'll leave it.
you know, it's not hard to figure out.
But that's, yeah,
yeah, fuel is probably a poor example, but you know, we had this year, there was 2 things we were chasing, and one of them was more around groomer stuff, but it was just a question, I guess, to see if that could be a possibility.
Ken's putting notes in the chat if you guys are seeing the chat.
yeah. Suggested a good estimate. But
And there is a
Yeah,
notes
but-
field.
I think what Matt is referring to is just somebody that goes through haphazard and just plugs in, you know, ridiculous numbers. You know, obviously, I know Derby runs it very much like a business, so you know, you guys have got a pretty good handle on what your expenses are and all that. So, but it's more the clubs that do it just to fill it out so they can say they filled it out.
Okay.
And I think it's pretty obvious which ones you can kind of pick out of the pile that are erroneous numbers, I guess. So. Anything else? I would entertain a motion from the board.
Essex County make a motion. Accept.
Addison, second.
Addison, seconds.
Thank you, Louis. Thank you, John. All those in favor of approving the 3 recommendations from the Trails Committee, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Thank you. Oh, let's see. I think that was the end of everything. Trails Administrators Report, ED report. Anything to add?
Yeah, I just, so last week or in your packet is the budget draft for you guys to review this month. And I don't know, I might have gotten the scholarship wrong, the increase. I think I only put it up to 2,000 per person. So I need to adjust that to 2,500 per person. Other than that, Sheila, Patty, Matt, and I got together and gone through, and the proposed budget is the same proposed budget we had going into last year. And if we have another bad winter and low numbers, then we'll have to readjust it moving forward if it wasn't an anomaly last year. But so if you guys will review and then you'll talk about it and vote or make changes and vote in July at the board meeting. And then the other thing was the personnel policy changes. That's also a draft. There's probably a few little things that still need to be worked on in there, but you'll be voting on that as well. I mean, when I say worked on in there, I mean like typos. So if you'll go through it and you'll be reviewing that at the July in-person board meeting as well. And Mike Stewart has his hand up, Jeff. I don't know if you can see him.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, question for Matt. How are we coming on GPS, Matt? I see looking at the budget that we've had a pretty substantial budget increase from 2023 to the 4 budget. I think you're finding it's going to be a little bit more expensive. Just wondering where you're at with that.
Oh, I think Ken mentioned it in his report, but we are looking at another option potentially, and that is why that increase is in there. We haven't definitely decided that's what we're gonna do yet, but it's an option that we're looking at to replace the current equipment in our current mapping system. Pretty much, I don't want to say start over because it's not the right word, but we're gonna
Move everything to a
out with the
better
old in with the
system.
new, yeah, kind of thing.
Refocus.
I think what we're finding out is we get what we pay for.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
and
units aren't working
also,
well.
also when we started this, you know, and we started working with the current people, we were on cutting edge. But now in the other systems we had been looking at, weren't able to do what we wanted, but now they've caught up and passed. And unfortunately, the guy that does our current systems now, he just isn't that interested in growing that business. So, and this other one of the other companies that we're looking at really has some great, there's some great historic, you know, knowledge as far as like there's other provinces and states that use them. And there's some additional things to benefit our members and riders as well as clubs too.
I think it's great. Thank you for all you're doing.
Thanks, Mike. Sorry, Matt. I have to mute myself more often.
Anything else before we jump into committee report? Okay. AORRG, Mark.
Things are a little bit slow, I would guess, on that front because our season's over. We are, you know, I don't know, I wouldn't say we're waiting to see if we have anything that comes out of the season, but we're evaluating the year. We've gone through our audit. We've gotten a preliminary report, right, Cindy? We haven't gotten the finalized, but that's about it for the RRG.
Thank you, Mark. Northeast chapter and USA, Pat.
I missed the last USA meeting, so I really can't add anything to it.
Okay. I happened to be at the Northeast chapter meeting that was held out in Illinois. We elected a new chairman, John Winterton from New York, has replaced Gary Broderick since Gary has moved from New York to Ohio, and is no longer considered Northeast. So be a little transition there. Nothing really earth shattering beyond that. Everybody's kind of facing a lot of our same issues, across the Northeast. It wasn't really a great snow year anywheres. Off-trail trespass is an issue, and the wildfires across Canada are not helping matters much either. So, but we shall continue. Let's see, Snow Trails Conservancy, Jim.
No, nothing at this point.
Thank you. Law enforcement, Cindy.
So we had a meeting last week and talked about funding of law enforcement equipment and changing the ratio. We used to do a 50-50 grant for law enforcement, and then we had a new program for new law enforcement that joined that we did an 80-20 grant, but some of our existing folks are riding on some really old machines. So the committee decided to now do a 30-70 for everybody, and also develop a survey. So I've sent out the survey questions to the committee today to review, make sure that everything is, you know, what we had talked about, as well as if they had anything to add. Once that comes back, that survey will go out to law enforcement, and it's basically asking them, you know, what resources do they have on their own or with communities or with clubs or county clubs for VAST? What is the actual cost? I think, what do you call it, Pat? The cost of burden
Right, yep.
for having our, having their employees patrol our trails, not just the hourly wage, like, and where do those funds come from? So it's a very small survey, as far as questions. I think right now there's like 6 questions. But anyway, so that's all happening.
Thank you, Cindy. Awards and nominating, Patty.
Yep, so the recipient selections have all been completed and selected. The awards and the groomer jacket have been ordered. The next step will be email notifications and writing of the speeches. Also wanted to mention that Mandy's working in the office with the VAST e-blast. I think that's what it's listed as, right? She's doing going to be communicating out to everybody about a section to highlight a landowner or a volunteer in an e-blast. So, it's not, I see you saying it's not a formal type of thing like an award, but it is a recognition so we can extend our thank you to more people. So did you want to say something there?
No, I was waving to Mike O'Hara. He just popped in and said he was leaving and I was waving goodbye.
Thanks again, Mike. See you soon.
So that's what we have for the awards portion of it. And the scholarship, we just the dollar increase, and also that Mandy updated the VAST website to properly name our scholarship, which is the Bill and Mitzi Oaks Scholarship. So if you happen to go up there, you'll see that it has been corrected. We had voted on that, oh my God, quite a few years ago at the committee level, but Mandy went through the website and updated that. So you'll see that as well. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Patty. Bylaws and policy, Mark.
Cindy and I have not got our annual meeting together to start looking at this. We will in the next week or so.
Okay. Annual meeting, Jeff Halpin.
Right on track.
Perfect.
Yeah, we pulled together. We had a meeting back in May, and I feel like we're right on track with everything. I would like to see some more possible counties or clubs try to set up with us as far as vendors go. If anybody's interested, please reach out. I have a vastwashington@gmail.com email that I made up. And if anybody has any inquiries or would like their club to set up for anything, we have plenty of vendor room down there this year. So other than that, everything's right on track, and it's very close to what we did last year. But I think that we had a really good time last year, so I think it'll work well.
And
Thank
on
you,
the
Jeff.
e-blast that Mandy's doing, I had her add Jeff you today to say if anyone would like to be a vendor, to reach out to Jeff Halpin with your contact information. So that'll
Great.
be coming out by the end of this week.
Thank you.
Nothing for the executive committee. Financial, Patty, I think we covered everything. Thank you. Long range planning and organizational, Mr. Mark.
We will be having a meeting in the next week or so to set the agenda for the retreat. I've been overwhelmed by work, so I haven't been able to pull it together in the last couple of weeks.
Okay. Let me know on that one, please.
Yep.
Resource committee is not active. Personnel, Julianne.
Just if you could review the personnel policy that we updated. Again, and most of it, like Cindy said, was taking out language as far as the insurances and the new retirement. But please, if you find anything else, feel free. So we could vote on that in July. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Trails, I think we covered everything, Matt. Safety, Stan.
Yeah, we did not meet this month. We do have a meeting scheduled for July, and Cindy reached out to me last week with some ideas that she came back from the conference with, so that we'll put that on the agenda and discuss it next month.
Great, thank you. Back, Governor's Council.
The Governor's Council met for the last time this summer. in June, the first Wednesday of June, and approve the FY23 SSTP budget, which basically is the registration fees. The only major change to it was an increase in law enforcement funding to try to entice some maybe new agencies to join without watering down the amount of funds that we currently are able to supply to the existing agencies. And I believe we added a little bit more to the equipment funding for the law enforcement. I cleaned my desk, so I filed that away. I can't put my hands on it right now. Is that about it, Matt?
Sounds good.
So
Sounds
we're,
accurate, Pat.
yeah, we're done until September. We will get back together.
Good enough. Any questions, concerns, comment before we close this down this evening?
I don't know if everybody's aware, Cindy can probably explain it better, but the state has done away with the registration stickers, the renewal stickers. And so people won't be getting those this year. And law enforcement wasn't really happy about that, right, Cindy?
Yeah, so what we're doing is our TMAs are going to have a VT after the number to show that it's a Vermont registration. So people still have to buy the TMAs the way that they do from us. They have to upload a copy of their registration. I was trying to get DMV to send us files, but they refuse at this point to do it, which I'm not surprised. But anyway, so we'll be selling TMAs the same way, but yes, you're right. As well as motor vehicles, nobody's going to be getting the white stickers anymore. They are out of the white sticker printing business. And so instead, so our TMA sticker, because we print those in Barry, you know, we have all the forms and the stickers already printed now. We have them at the office, but the printer, the number that's identified on the form and the sticker gets printed in Barry. And so when someone buys one, they're assigned a number. And so it'll say like EB001 VT if it's a registered in Vermont sled. So that way, at least visually, law enforcement will be able to see that.
Good idea.
Is that
Didn't they
gonna
also
hold
do
true?
away with the registration certificate?
No,
No?
no, they just have the ability to carry it on their phone. It's going to be disastrous for law enforcement, I think. You know, here everybody wants law enforcement to be all hands off. And I don't even mean snowmobiling. I mean the guys that are out patrolling our roads and our highways and stuff. Because now they're going to be taking people's phones and going into their cruisers to check stuff. And it's like, you know, that cop dropped my phone and cracked the screen. Well, you know, it's just going to be, I don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, on my soapbox.
So is that gonna hold true for out-of-state registration as well?
No,
So
because you have an out-of-state registration sticker. Like when you register in New Hampshire, that's your trail pass and your registration.
Gotcha.
Same in Maine. So they'll have those. So it's more of like a visual thing. I mean, they're still going to do the safety checks. You still want to see your paperwork. You know, it's just a visual, you know, sometimes when they get really backed up, you know, they do some visual stuff, especially state police.
Anything else? Louis?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
you.
second.
Who was the second? Oh, John. Okay. Thank you guys for all you do.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good
Thank you.
night.